let's walk and talk. I have to do it because, not have to. This one, I want to do. So let's have a little bit of whiskey. It's a metal cup. Amazing. Love it. We are drinking a Lefroy, not a bourbon, unfortunately. I'm sorry. This is a It's a Lefroy version, aged in port and wine casks. 52% alcohol. Yep, like you'd expect with Lefroy, very peaty, if you know Lefroy. It's interesting because in the beginning, when you get into peaty scotches, it feels awful. Like your flavoring notes are gasoline, burnt tire, and it's just bad. But as you kind of get to know the flavor, and as you're able to appreciate it, you go from burnt tire to like this warm blanket. And this is just like a warm blanket of flavor. It's smoky, it's peaty, it's rich, it's sweet. It's really, you just want to drink it. Okay, so yesterday we had the 5-star Grand Prix. I'm here in Traverse City at the Major League Show. And I know you guys know the result, but I'm not going to give it away for the people that don't. So let's watch the first round. Okay, so it was very interesting because the 2 days before in the qualifier, the course was, they were a lot clear, over 20 clear. So it was interesting to see how this course was going to go. And it was big. Like, Marina built a big course. Fence 1, a little bit easy turn. You're getting into the course here to fence 2. And then there was a question here, 6 or 7. I did 6, got a little flat because of how I got to fence 2. Then sit up a bit for the 4. Some people had to rush the 4 because of them doing 7. Now, this was a big question to this oxer. The 5 gets flat to a very short combination. And I do not know how Kalinka jumped B. I do not. She was unbelievable there. And then again, coming to this huge oxer, there's a question. It's 8.5. So do you do 8 or do you do 9? But that matters what happens after that because it's 5 or 6. So you have to decide 8 or 6, 9 or 6, and there's so many questions on this course. Nice run to the water, and then after the water, for most people, not us, for most people it was a very flat 6. But for us it was nice and collected. The triple combination caught a lot of people out because it was 12 ABC. It was very late in the course. Then the 8 stride was out. Some people did 7, and then some people did 4. We did very steady 5 to the last vertical. Kalinka was amazing. Okay, look, that course was huge. There were 38 starters. There were only 5 clear, and not because the time allowed was tight. There were, I can't remember this many rails on a course. And it was, it was interesting because it wasn't like, the panic swimming rails or crashing rails. It was just rails. And the rails came everywhere. From the first fence to the last fence, there were rails all over the course. There wasn't like one bogey fence or anything like that. And, it has been a while since I've jumped a course that big. Now, I know that sounds like, because I jumped clear, of course I'm going to say it was hard. Like, I get it. But I wish there was a way for me to tell you how hard the course was, outside of you watching. I know the course wasn't in Europe or anywhere, but a course is a course, regardless of who is jumped. This course is big. There are so many questions, so many different questions. And it's a brilliant course. Marina did a great job. And I was so proud of Kalinka. She tried her heart out. I did the best I could to help answer the questions that the course asked. We were 1 of 5 going to the jump off. We were the 3rd to go, so we were slam in the middle. But there was Derek Cairns, there was Andrew Bournes before us, and then there was Derek Kenny and Ken Farrington after us. So let's watch my round in the jump off.
So from the first fence, it's all about getting a good angle landing from fence 1. So you can be really quick inside track as you see me, inside everyone else to the vertical, little bit back, more reserved, but that allowed the 10, which was an add, to be more forward. And that allowed me to be more inside track here to fence 4 in the jump off. There was an issue with the first 2 at that fence, but we were able to solve that by our track. And then a little bit relaxed, but then a hard cut here to the double. And I'll talk about that later of why I did that, because that's generally not how you do it. And then nice around, and then really quick forward to the second to last. And then the 7 was really rushing, but for me, you see me having to pull, it was really short because of how I got to the second to last. It made the last line very short.
Let's talk about that jump off. So I watched the first 2 go. Like I said, I was the 3rd rider out of 5. I was just back in the middle. The first 2 had rails, and I'd seen where the rails happened. I saw why they happened, and so I tried to protect for it. And what I thought in my head was, Derek Kennedy was coming after me, but he's on a 9-year-old that's bit green. So I knew he wasn't going to be going full tilt. So I said, okay, I don't have to beat Dara by speed. And then, of course, Kent is coming later. And we all know Kent can go full speed. But I said, I need to protect against the issues that the first 2 people had. If that makes me go slower because of it, at least I'll be clear. And then if Kent puts in an amazing Kent round, then I'm second. But if I try to go full tilt just to beat Kent, and then I have a rail or 2, I'll be 4th or 5th. So there's a bit of calculus there. On top, I know it doesn't look like I'm going that fast, but I had the tightest lines of anyone. I checked when we did the victory ride. I looked, because there were only 5 of us in the jump off and there was a fresh drag, so you could see every line. And I was the tightest of all of them. I might not look like I'm going fast, but thanks to Tembla and after Tembla, Caillou, I learned track because those horses weren't naturally fast. So it was all about track. My track was very good. Kent looks like he's going fast. But just looking like you're going fast doesn't mean you're actually going fast. And we were going fast. And we were able to, but at the same time, it was fast and intelligent. It was able to protect against the problems. So 1 to 2, you could take liberties. We got a bit under fence 2, which I was okay with, and that was part of the plan, because 9 strides to fence 3 was very flat and got in your way of your turn after fence 3. So if you got under fence 2, a little bit backwards, then the 10 was forward. But you could do the 10 forward and bending. So you land from fence 3, going in the direction you want, instead of landing and flat.
No.
And that would set you up better for fence 4. So fence 4 was less on the ragged edge, because there were issues at fence 4 in the jump off with the previous riders. But I was able to solve that by my track from fence 1 to 2, which solved my track from fence 2 to 3, which then made my track from 3 to 4. And then after fence 4, it was a gallop to the combination. Now, the way the combination was set, it was a hard approach. Most of the riders, their rails were at the combination. And I took the least conventional track to the combination. But that's because of the way Kalinka goes. It's the same thing I did in Thermal in December when I won the Grand Prix there. Kalinka jumps into the combinations very far. So I can take liberties on A because I know how she's going to jump in, where most people can't. So I took a very shallow line and did a very quick, immediate turn to A, which is the opposite of how you should normally do it. And so I relied on her reaction to A, and I knew she would push for B. Now, of course, my ride, I helped as best as I could to push for B. Where most people, they're coming in a bit flat and having B down. Where I took liberties at A, which made B easier. And then again, a chance to relax and gallop before the tight turn to the second to last. and I saw a great distance, which I was really happy about in the moment because the distance was a bit blind. It was around fence 4 in the jump off. So you couldn't see it directly, and you kind of had to see it through things. And I was really hoping Kalinka would follow. Saw a great distance to the second to last of the jump off. And then the 7 was, when you walked it, was really forward. And you didn't think it would be as short as it was because you're turning tight to the second to last. But we had the second to last, so we got it great going, which made the 7 really short in the end. In the moment, I actually thought I pulled for 8 because I didn't think 7 would ever be that pulling. But thankfully, Kalinka was so on it today, and it all came. She was just there. She was everything. That the first round was tough. The second round was tough. We were the only double clear in the whole class. Only 5 out of 40 jump clear. And she was awesome. I'm so proud of her. There was so much to the first round, so many questions, and yeah, she's amazing. Okay, so we won this, and I am so proud of Kalinka. I'm so proud of Camponio, the whole team. There is no better team, and it is to their credit that anything I am able to do in the ring was possible. There's so many people and so much work that goes into what you see in the ring. And Camponio, our team, is just the best.